My name is Lila Martinez, and I always loved teaching. From the moment I stepped into my first classroom, guiding kids to read and write, I felt alive. But my parents, they never understood. "They'll never respect you," my mother whispered one night, her voice trembling with disappointment. "You're throwing your life away, Lila. You could be a lawyer, a doctor, not a lowly teacher." My father was worse. "Do you want to live like this? Struggling every month, with no status, no money." I tried to explain that teaching wasn't about money or status, it was about impact, about shaping futures. But they didn't listen. They stopped returning my calls. Invitations to family events vanished. Birthdays, weddings, holidays, gone. I was a ghost in my own family. For years, I kept my head down. I taught. I volunteered. I spent late nights tutoring kids who needed extra help, making lesson plans, grading papers, even paying for classroom supplies out of my own pocket. I was exhausted, but I loved it. Then, one Monday morning, everything changed. The school principal handed me a letter sealed with a red emblem. "It's for you, Lila," he said. "From the governor's office." My hands shook as I opened it. My eyes widened. It was an invitation to the State Education Awards ceremony. The governor himself wanted to honor me for my innovative teaching methods and dedication to underprivileged children. I felt a mixture of pride and disbelief. Me? The teacher my parents disowned? The day of the ceremony, I wore my best suit, trying to hide the nerves. I entered the grand hall, chandeliers glittering, reporters and photographers buzzing. My name was announced, and as I walked up the stage, the applause was deafening. The governor shook my hand warmly. "Your work has changed the lives of hundreds of children. We are proud to honor you today." And then I heard it, the one thing I never expected. A familiar voice, cutting through the crowd. "Lila." I turned slowly. There they were. My parents. Shock, disbelief, shame, they were all written across their faces. They had heard my name, had seen my recognition, and for the first time, they realized they had been wrong. The governor leaned slightly and whispered, "Go ahead, Lila. Say something." I smiled politely, raised the award, and spoke clearly. "I've always believed that value isn't measured by titles or money, it's measured by impact. And today I stand proud, not just for myself, but for every teacher who is dismissed as lowly. We shape the future. We deserve respect." I could see the shame in my parents' eyes, but also a spark of realization. It was too late for words. Recognition had come, not from them, but from the world, and that was enough. From that day on, my life changed completely. Students, parents, and colleagues looked at me differently. Doors I never dreamed of opened, opportunities to lead educational programs, speak at conferences, even advise on state education policies. And my parents? They eventually apologized, but I learned an important lesson. Approval from those who underestimate you is optional. Your worth is proven by your work, your impact, and the lives you touch. Some called me the teacher who made the state proud. I just smiled. I was still Lila, still teaching, still making a difference, and this time, no one could ever call me lowly again. After the awards ceremony, life felt surreal. For the first time, I realized that being lowly in my parents' eyes didn't matter at all. What mattered was the difference I made every single day in my classroom. News outlets had picked up my story. Local newspapers ran headlines like, "Teacher turned state hero, Lila Martinez's journey from rejection to recognition." Suddenly, I wasn't just a teacher at a small school, I was a symbol of perseverance. People sent me messages from all over the country, students, parents, even strangers thanking me for inspiring them. And yet, my parents' shadow still lingered. They began calling me again, this time carefully, with polite voices they never used before. "Lila, we're sorry," my mother said one evening. "We were wrong. We didn't understand." I listened quietly. Part of me wanted to scream, to cry, to forgive, but another part knew something important. Respect isn't demanded, it's earned. I chose my words carefully. "I appreciate your apology. But respect is not just about saying sorry, it's about believing in what people do, even if it doesn't match your expectations." The conversation ended there, but the seed of understanding had been planted. Slowly, my parents began attending school events, cautiously, as if testing the waters. Meanwhile, my career took off in ways I had never imagined. I was invited to speak at a statewide education summit. Governors and policymakers asked me to advise on curriculum improvements. I received grants to fund new programs for underprivileged children. Every day, I saw lives changing, students excelling, teachers inspired, parents motivated. But it wasn't just about awards or recognition anymore. I realized my work was bigger than me. One day, during a regular school day, a student named Sophia approached me, tears in her eyes. "Ms. Martinez, I don't think I can do this," she whispered. "I'm failing math. Everyone else is so smart. I feel stupid." I knelt beside her and smiled gently. "Sophia, you're not failing. You're learning. Sometimes the hardest lessons teach us the most. I've seen you grow stronger every day. You just need to believe in yourself as much as I believe in you." Her face lit up. "Really? Really," I said. "Now let's tackle this together." Moments like that reminded me why I became a teacher. Awards and recognition were wonderful, but this, helping a child believe in herself, was priceless. Then, the governor's office called again. They wanted me to speak at a special event celebrating outstanding teachers across the nation. I was nervous but excited. The event was broadcast live, and millions of people watched as I told my story of being disowned, underestimated, and ultimately vindicated by my own perseverance and dedication. The response was overwhelming. Messages flooded in from people sharing their struggles, their dreams, and their gratitude. Teachers who had been dismissed or ignored reached out, saying my story gave them hope. Parents wrote thanking me for inspiring their children. Even my parents couldn't ignore it anymore. They watched the broadcast in silence. And this time, when they called, there was no shame, only curiosity, maybe even a hint of pride. I smiled to myself. I realized I didn't need their approval anymore. I had something much stronger, the knowledge that my life, my work, and my impact mattered. And that was the moment I truly understood. Being lowly is not a matter of occupation. It's about perspective. The world may underestimate you, your family may doubt you, but if you dedicate yourself to something meaningful, your value will always shine. Eventually, everyone else will see it too. The months after the national recognition were a whirlwind. Interviews, speaking engagements, awards, my life had changed completely. But deep down, I still carried the memory of being disowned, the sting of my parents' rejection. Then came the day that would change everything, not for me, but for my family. The governor invited me to a special ceremony celebrating teachers who changed the future. It was an event of monumental importance, with state leaders, celebrities, and education experts attending. And this time, my parents were in the audience. I saw them before I walked onto the stage. My mother's hands were trembling, her eyes wet. My father's usually stern face was softened by a mixture of guilt and awe. For a moment, I felt a rush of emotions, anger, hurt, but also something else. Hope. When my name was called, the applause was deafening. I walked confidently to the podium, took a deep breath, and looked out at the crowd. And then I spoke. I stand here today not just as a teacher, but as someone who was once told I wasn't enough. I was told my work was insignificant. I was disowned for choosing a path I loved. But I also stand here as proof that passion, dedication, and heart cannot be measured by status or wealth. True value is in the lives you touch and the difference you make. I paused, scanning the audience, and my eyes met my parents. My father's jaw was tight. My mother's lips quivered. For the first time, they truly understood what I had endured and what I had achieved. The governor stepped forward. "Lila Martinez, your journey is extraordinary. You've shown courage, perseverance, and dedication that inspires us all." Then came the moment I will never forget. The governor gestured toward my parents. "I'd like to invite your family to the stage." I froze. Part of me wanted to refuse, to protect myself from more pain. But another part, a part that had forgiven silently long ago, urged me forward. My parents slowly joined me, hesitantly. My mother. reached for my hand first. "Lila, we were wrong." "We are so proud of you," she whispered, her voice breaking. I felt tears sting my eyes. My father nodded, choking back words. "You've made us realize what really matters," he said. "Not titles, not money. Your heart, your dedication. That's what matters." For the first time in years, I hugged them without reservation. It was awkward, emotional, real. Years of rejection melted into a single moment of reconciliation. After the ceremony, something incredible happened. Students, teachers, and families approached me, congratulating me, sharing their own struggles and victories. People who had once ignored or dismissed educators were now reaching out for guidance, inspired by my journey. I realized that my story had grown beyond my personal life. It had become a symbol of hope. A reminder that no matter how lowly someone might seem, their impact can echo far beyond expectations. Back at home, that evening, my parents cooked dinner together, a small gesture that felt monumental. We laughed, shared stories, and for the first time, they truly saw me not as the child who failed their expectations, but as a woman who followed her calling with courage and heart. I returned to school the next day, greeted by students running up to hug me, parents smiling warmly, and colleagues nodding with respect. And in that moment, I understood something powerful. The approval of others, even those we love, is optional. What matters is knowing your worth, living with purpose, and never compromising your passion. I kept the governor's award in my office, but it wasn't a trophy of vanity, it was a reminder. A reminder that rejection is temporary, perseverance is eternal, and true recognition comes not from titles, but from the lives we touch. My parents still stumble sometimes. They're learning, just like I did, but now we face life together, with understanding, respect, and love. And as for me, I continue teaching, shaping futures, and proving